Welcome to another video that will be based on Jonsbo products, and right here we have their case, and right here we have their CPU tower cooler. Well, basically it's designed for an SFF builds, to be exact. So here we have the Jonsbo Vr3, and here we have the Jonsbo HX4170D. Now, these are quite cool products, I have to say right from the start, and you'll be really thrilled when I get in depth with it, because it's quite outstanding. It looks really nice. It really does actually have loads of space, and you can fit a 280 radiator inside. Now that's remarkable, and the limits, well, basically the heights, the lengths and the possibility that you get with this case is just remarkable. To be honest, it has this, let's say, perforated steel. It acts like some sort of a dust filter, but also it gives enough airflow to the components to stay cool. And in small cases such as this one, that's most important. Here we don't have a chimney effect. We have a possibility to place fans on front. You could go either with two 120 or two 140, so this gives you an opportunity to even place 240 or 280 radiator AIO on your CPU. But today I decided to go with this one just to also test it out and to see how it performs on AMD Ryzen 5 5600G. Today this is actually an AMD build, so 5600G with 6650 XT, and it's quite interesting because first of all, let's go with the temperatures. Now this cooler is cooling 5600G, and it goes under full load in AIDA Extreme Edition with over 50 minutes of full stress test around 72 degrees Celsius. So it sticks around 72, and that's quite alright. First of all, I do also have to mention that in my room it's really hot, and I even tried to getting the room cooled down. And I think in a different case scenario, if the room temperature wasn't around 30 Celsius degrees, it would be much lower. So I would say that the temperature on the CPU would be around 66 to 68 degrees Celsius if the room temperature was 22. But here's the thing, the GPU, the Sapphire Nitro Plus RX 6650 XT, is actually really chilled. So 59 degrees Celsius on the GPU in this vertical position, because check this out. Now you've heard the temperatures. This is the cool thing. So you open the top and you don't have a possibility, even though there is a hole right here, you can't place a screw because you don't have anywhere to tie it up. But the thing is, you have two screws going here on the side, and it gives you a possibility to basically lock this part to the main chassis. Then you have this handle, and check this out, it slides right out, and that's really nice. So basically you need to remove two screws here on the top and two on the side to pull the whole chassis out of the case. You have two rails on this part of the chassis, and as you can see, completely it's opened. It doesn't have a closed part. Even here at the back you can see that this is it. So that's really cool. So checking out this part right here, so let's see. As you can see, you have about 2 more centimeters from the HX4170D, which is 45.3 millimeters. So you can most likely go up to 65-ish, something like that. As you can see, we have an 80x power supply, so it supports really huge power supplies. And even with the cables, I would suggest always going fully modular. You can nicely reroute them. I mean, I could even place a radiator right here and it would fit. The cables would still look quite nice. You have loads of openings here on the side at the bottom to use zip ties and to actually reorganize the cables quite nicely. When we're talking about organization of the cables, you would be surprised that they used much longer standoffs than in standard cases, which gives you a possibility to reroute the cables at the back of the motherboard. Now here we do have to be careful, just in case the motherboard backside connections to all the headers and all the pins, doesn't break the isolation of the cable and doesn't make a short circuit. So that's something you do need to take care of, or either just place some, I don't know, sponge or something that is very thin but still protects the cable from breaking on those connections at the back. Nevertheless, still you have loads of space. You have like 1.5 centimeter approximately to place the cables here at the back of the motherboard. And that's what I did actually for the 8-pin EPS. The 24-pin is going right here, and the cable for the GPU is going below the GPU. You can see that right here we have two 140mm EK fans, which are cooling basically everything. They're blowing, well, almost blowing inside the power supply, but the power supply has a nice airflow here and pushing the air out at the back. You have a possibility here to place two 2.5-inch SSDs, and on the other side, if you don't have such a long graphic card, you can place a 3.5-inch hard drive. So that's also here a possibility. Depends what you are doing here. At the back, at the other side, I would say, you also get a riser cable, so that's a big plus, which is already pre-bent just perfectly for the GPU. And usually, you know, when you're checking out such small cases, you would think, okay, how I'm going to connect the GPU, because this is unbelievable position, especially with the top that you place, you cover everything up, right? Well, wrong. You have two holes right here at the back. You just slide the case a bit out, put the cable right to the graphic card, place it, and that's it. It's really easy. As you can see, this is the length of the GPUs. You have from 295 to 325 millimeters of length. I think you can wiggle around a bit maybe and get those couple of millimeters more, but I think that's quite alright. I mean, this card ran at 59 degrees Celsius in this is the only intake that it gets. And it's basically a couple of centimeters blowing inside the case, which is really good. I would say really good. For this case, it's really good. Now, I removed the brackets for the SSD and for the hard drive. And guess what? You get an accessory box, of course, loads of screws that you need to for your SSD, for your hard drives. For this, how you get this is a hot swappable possibility to place up to 5 hard drives or 5 SSDs, depending on what you want. And you also get here 5 SATA connections to connect your motherboard, 2 Molex and 1 fan connector here if you decide to place it directly on the, or basically to blow air through those hard drives. That's really cool. That's really cool, and something that reminds us of Jonsbo N1 NAS case. Quite outstanding. Also, there's a possibility if you have an SFX power supply, but it doesn't come with a smaller bracket, or basically to cover up the ATX holes, you get that as well. So you can use an SFX power supply and get more space for your cables reorganization. After all, we do have Gold and Platinum 850 SFX power supply, so that's also amazing, and you can really squeeze in a powerhouse inside. Now, this case really does look outstanding, I would say, because first of all, loads of cable management possibilities. Some cases that are even bigger don't have this possibility to reorganize the cables and make this case look this nice, this clean. And the temperatures, as I said, on the processor, it's a small heatsink right here. And the room is really heated up. First of the 3 soft boxes rocking here directly to the PC and warming up the room. But yeah, that's quite amazing. Now, I didn't mention the I/O ports. Of course, you have power on button and the indication light that you need to connect to your front panel jacks. You have USB Type-C and you have USB 3.0. That's quite alright, I would say. I don't think that you need to have more than this, and let me just show you. It doesn't matter if it's turned on or not, because nothing will happen since it's isolated completely. Yeah, here we go. This is how it's easy to place the build back inside in the main chassis. There's literally nothing else that you need to do, and you can always pull it out. You know, you need to add, I don't know, M.2 SSD, 2.5-inch SSD, you want to change the graphic card, or you just simply want to clean your build. That's how it's easy to do. Of course, I would suggest not doing this when the cable is connected for the power, just so it doesn't plug out. But here we go. The build is inside. You place the top. That's it, guys. What can I say? I'm really fascinated with Jonsbo and how they do their builds, their cases basically, because first of all, we have a high quality material. There's no manufacturer flaws on the end product. And honestly, I can see from my other Jonsbo videos that you really like watching their products. So I'm really actually excited to give you more insights on their products. And if you decide eventually to go and check it out, you can always check out with the links below. In Europe, they are mostly covered on Case King. If some product that I cover isn't currently on Case King, you just need to wait a bit and it eventually shows over there, or other links that you can order from rest of the Europe. And of course, we have the smaller cooler, which is 45.3mm of height, 4 heat pipes with top flow air cooler, which is constant RGB, so you can control it. You have 4-pin connection, which gives the power for the RGB and for the spins, and that's basically it. So Jonsbo HX4170D, which is quite cool actually, and in this case it really does do the job quite nicely, I would say. Well, for the mid-tier processors, of course, not the high-end ones. But in any case, big thumbs up, definitely big thumbs up to Jonsbo for this case, and I'll even give it PC Crazy approved badge, because the Jonsbo Vr3 is just wow. I really like it. It's really easy to build inside, really nice possibility for cable organizations. The front can accommodate up to 280 AIO and really cool down the processor even more than this. Quite nice graphic card can fit inside, and if you really want to play around, you can actually maybe even do a custom loop without any issues. So yeah, guys, that's it. Links are below, as already stated. You can check it out in Europe on Case King, and for the rest of the world, the other links as well. If you're new to the channel and if you like the content, do stay subscribed so you don't miss any future content, and definitely future content from Jonsbo on my channel. And that's all for today. So thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.